plenty of runs in it.
Is that a good wicket for a final?
Well, it is, because the bowlers have got to bowl line and length. The batsmen may have to take some chances against some good tight bowling, but you don't want a wicket that's biased towards the bowlers. You want a wicket that will support them, but really it's just a matter of playing the bad ball away for runs, and hopefully the fielding team takes their catches.
Sure. Who's your trump card?
Mr. Gary Gilmore is definitely our match winner, and he's practiced all week and he's very keen, and you know, he's the sort of player that can get a response from a very flat track, as he proved last match against Stockton.
On the other hand, who are the danger men as far as Belmont are concerned?
Well, I'd have to say Michael Hill. He'd have to be the respected leader around town. He's quite a good tacticianer, a very handy all-rounder, and he got 100 wickets in the last year's final. Mark Curry is their form batsman, and he can really tear an attacking apart.
Michael, I suppose the danger man is the question to ask you. Who is he?
Oh, obviously Gary Gilmore, but we respect the whole of the Belmont side, but Gary's a guy who can turn the match in an hour and a half.
They've got a lot of depth, haven't they? They've been there before, most of their team.
Well, yes and no. They've got quite a solid bowling attack. I think our batting's much more solid, and if anyone's been there, well, we've been there the last 2 times. This will be 3 in the trot for us.
Have you got a full side in?
Yep, we'll all be there. Wayne Fowler's back and looks very fit.
Which way do you think it'll go?
I think the team that bats first will have an enormous advantage, because it's just easier batting with a little less pressure and not having to chase the runs on the second day. We proved against Southern Lakes we can chase them, but I'd prefer to bat first.
3 in a row is a bit of a hurdle. It's a psychological hurdle, isn't it?
Oh, well, I'd rather have won the last 2 than lost them.
The $500,000 caravan park opened today at Torres typifies the standard that's now expected. Well-grassed, roomy sites, many with their own toilet and even shower amenities. There are also drive-through sites for tourists. But the park owner, Walt Edwards, says he sees only 1 or 2 such caravanners a week. The majority of the park's 70 sites are occupied by long-term residents. Performing the official opening of the park, the Mayor of Lake Macquarie, Alderman Pasterfield, paid tribute to the confidence needed to undertake such a project and complimented Mr Edwards on the result. As far as government authorities go, however, the status of caravan parks and their permanent residents has not been clearly spelled out. The administrator of the Camping and Caravan Association, Des Trindle, says this must change.
In the past, it's been the example of the ostrich with its head in the sand. Now we've got the Victorian codes, which have just come out, November '83, which are proposing that we pull our head out of the sand and recognise the caravan park, as a possibility for a long stayer and a permanent resident. And that's the recommendation of the Victorian document. And this is the thing that's got to happen here in New South Wales. We've got to recognise the caravan park as not only the holiday accommodation service, but also the permanent, because the need is crying out. It's there.
Practice finding the square roots of numbers that you don't know the square roots of.
Last year, 2,500 Year 5 students in the Hunter took part in the mathematics competition sponsored by the Newcastle Permanent Building Society. This weekend, the top 110 students in that competition were invited to a camp at the Myuna Bay Sport and Recreation Centre. The aim of the weekend was to let children explore the world of mathematics a little further. For instance, getting hands-on experience on computers and using those computers to solve problems.
83 degrees. Somewhere around about 283 degrees. You won't get it right on.
There's also the chance to take maths outdoors and have some fun, with some basic orienteering, using compass bearings and their reciprocals to track down nominated points. The novel learning exercises will continue until tomorrow, but already the children taking part have voted the camp a great success.
Found the disc?
Yep.
What's the colour?
Blue.
Right. Shape?
the Eels produce a piece of football that is absolute magic.
Well, it's out in that direction, and Kenny's going to try and split through. He's looking inside, finds Growth. There goes Growth. He's up to the 32-metre line. Back to Ella. Ella will stretch it out to the right. This is Quinn. Quinn around the corner for Lydiard. Niscott's got troubles. It's gone to Kenny. That's a great try.
Two old teammates, Stewart and Fennish, talk about the good old days. A pass from Peter Sterling that finds its way into the clutches of Darren McCarthy.
He'll score into the post. Darren McCarthy has put life back into this South Sydney side now.
The Australian Athletic Championships in Melbourne at the weekend were the last chance for Newcastle's David Forbes to make the Olympic team, but it wasn't to be. The 1500-metre race went to Australia's Mike Hillard, with Britain's Steve Ovett second. Forbes, although he achieved the target time he set, finished sixth and missed a chance for Olympic selection. In the 5,000 metres, though, he knocked 7 seconds off his personal best and finished fourth. Naturally, he's a little disappointed, but he's far from discouraged.
It'd have been nice to make the team, but it's not the end all. I'm probably more disappointed for the people that helped me out more than say myself. At the start of the season, the coach and myself sat down and worked out the time we thought was a feasible time to run this year. It was under 3 minutes 40, and I achieved that, breaking a state record at the same time. So I virtually got everything out of the year that I wanted to, and to qualify would have just been a bonus, which is, it's a little unfortunate, but I've got time for the next ones.
So you're definitely aiming at the next ones?
Yes, it's only 2 years to the Commonwealth Games in Edinburgh, and then there's only really another 2 years to Seoul, so it's not that far off. I can see Seoul in 4 years anyway.
Forbes, who's dominated the local fun run scene, says he'll cut back on distance running to concentrate on the track, although he will compete in this year's City to Surf run in Sydney in August.
Divers from throughout the state were at the pool to take part in the combined high schools championship, vying for a place in the Carnival's Champion of Champions event. The best male and female divers were chosen, and 2 Newcastle divers were among the 12 selected. Michelle Bonnyman from Lambton High had earlier won the 15 Years Girl and Open Tower events, but her 3 dives in the Champion of Champions were just not good enough, and she finished a close second to Kerry McGregor from Sydney's western suburbs. In the boys, 12-year-old Tony Lawson from Waratah High School was just not experienced enough and finished well behind the winner, Anthony Watson from the North Shore in Sydney.
It's a good throw there by Shillabeer, finds Maxwell. He's got Watson in his back. Still Steve Maxwell, gets to the line, cuts the ball back, it's a good cross to Carter, and slotted in there. Jones will have the opportunity to hoist it back in there. He does so. It's a bit too close to McNally though. Oh, and a violent challenge from Bob Mountford hits Willie McNally.
I form the opinion that Newcastle United can't move its financial.
Thank you, Ken. At some time now, I could enlarge on that subject, but I won't, not to do anything except to resign in some case presented by our club in the course have empowered me to say that. We second that the Federation reached position on the table. Next, we decided that we would accept, which will be a second company. Well, we have Newcastle Rosebuds United, a shelf company of Adamstown Rosebuds, which of course has a club in our state first division. They have been granted permission to replace Newcastle United. We feel that the National Soccer League and the ASF will endorse our recommendation in that regard.
At a meeting last night in the Northern Soccer Federation offices at Adamstown, the relevant soccer officials heard the Northern Soccer Federation's Alan Tredinnick officially announced that Adamstown Rosebud Soccer Club had taken over the financially ruined Newcastle United. But what about the well-performed former Newcastle United team? It has played its way into second spot on the NSL ladder. Now, where do they, along with coach Ken Kaiser, stand without a club to play for? As this weekend at least, Adamstown has put its state First Division side in against NSL giants Sydney City under the name Newcastle Rosebuds United. The players who have done Newcastle proud so far this NSL season today still know little about their position. Coach Ken Kaiser knows little more. This brings me late today to outside a city solicitor's office where Coach Ken Kaiser is seeking legal advice as to the position of his players and himself.
Well, the advice is that at this point of time, Newcastle United is still in the National League until such time as the National League body itself expels Newcastle United.
Surely that's a formality after last night's decision.
It should be, but at this point of time I've got to go by the law of the land, and that is I'm still contracted to Newcastle United. So I've got to advise the players tonight that if they need any advice, then go to the Federation and get the advice off them.
Ken, have you got a team for the weeks coming? Have they got a coach? What is the situation?
Look, I don't know anything about that. Once again, the Federation are the only people that appear to have that information.
The original concept of a computer exhibition at the CAE was to have a few local agents mount displays, but such is the competitive nature of the computer industry that the exhibition has attracted the attention of more than 20 major companies, which have brought along more than $500,000 worth of microcomputers. Some of them new to Australia, like Apple's new weapon, the Macintosh.
And now you go ahead and you just keep typing in your quick brown box, and there you see on the screen there, I can print it out. There's the top part of that document in that font there.
The computers on display range from more expensive business systems through to a briefcase-sized model which can carry your correspondence around in its memory until it's convenient to print it out. Another new product at the exhibition gaining attention is the Tandy 2000 model that performs in brilliant colour. Electronic entrepreneur Dick Smith has also put the cat amongst the pigeons with his new microcomputer that's claimed to match the Apple at half the price. It's undoubtedly a buyer's market, and that's guaranteed the success of the exhibition, which will continue until Saturday evening.
The trade fair is so well respected that car dealers are recommending that people thinking of buying cars go to the fair to see what's available on the market. However, the fair's not just a giant car showroom, and there are 450 exhibitors showing everything from chainsaws to windsurfers and computers to radio-controlled models. Last year the fair attracted 70,000 people, and this year the organisers are hoping to raise more than $65,000 for several local charity organisations. The chairman of the Trade Fair Committee, Mr. John Steele, believes the fair has grown to be the ideal size for an event such as a trade fair.
There's well over 90 new exhibits. For this year we're very fortunate. We've got every motor vehicle exhibitor in Newcastle except for one. So if you want to shop for motor cars, they're here. If you want to shop for boats, they're here. And so it goes, household furnishings, paving, clothing. It's a very varied set of exhibitors, including things like computers and ordinary homeware products, and things that people make at home, and there's a lot of small handcraft exhibitors that are here this year as well. So it's very varied.
I hope that the players offer to play for Newcastle, not necessarily Newcastle Rosebuds United, but to play for Newcastle this Sunday without payment will be picked up by the Federation, and that the players will take the field against Sydney City on Sunday.
Are your indications that the players want to play without pay?
I have that without reservation, that the players are prepared to play this Sunday without pay.
Well, what's stopping them?
Well, they were offered a contract last night. Each player was offered a contract. They felt that they did not have time to consider the contract. They weren't prepared to entertain signing a contract before the game on Sunday, and that was why we got the headlines about the forfeit on Sunday afternoon.
Well, you're really the last in the line of troubleshooters, aren't you? It's up to you to get a side on there on the Sunday. Do you think you can do it?
I have that responsibility. It's an awesome responsibility, but I'm going to do my best.
Today, Mr Face met with Lake Macquarie aldermen, local residents and officials of the Redhead Surf Club in an effort to come to some agreement over what could be done to control the use of four-wheel drives on the beach. Recreational vehicles are not allowed on public beaches. However, at Redhead there is an unusual problem because the southern end is privately owned and therefore not subject to either government or council regulations. According to Mr Faith, nobody wants to see four-wheel drives banned altogether, but he says there is a very obvious need for some sort of regulation.
It's a matter of getting some areas put aside where they can go, because they do, and I've got to be quite frank, seem to think they've got open licence on the whole of Redhead Beach, and I'm not going to put up with it any longer, because I'm going to see some person, and most probably a child that doesn't understand vehicles, lose its life or lose some limb before very soon.
I understand they're also disrupting the dune stabilisation program.
This government, under its beach restoration program that came into being in 1977, has spent something in the vicinity of $400,000 restoring this beach after the tragedy of 1974 and the problems that beset this beach and other coastal areas. And now I'm not going to stand by idly and see what I've put a lot of time in getting to fruition, pulled apart by some irresponsible people.
The winner, Mark Cutifani, is seen here being congratulated by the Seco Titan Mining Division Manager, Mr Wayne Lodge, wins an all-expenses-paid trip to Chicago to attend the International Coal Show at the end of this month. Mr Cutifani suggested various refinements to the design of roof drilling bits to prolong their working life and increase penetration rates.
I basically went home one night for a couple of hours and worked out something that we need at the colliery and thought would be quite useful, and submitted the entry.
What exactly is the suggestion?
Oh, it's a variation and design of a
drill bit used in roof boring by most of the collieries around the area. It's used in roof support.
Built in 1940, the present Maitland public baths are simply falling apart. Steel frames in the cement have rusted, weakening the pool walls, and council engineers have declared the pool unsafe. A council subcommittee has decided that although the pool could probably still be used for a few more seasons, it would be more economical to dig it out and start again.
$586,000 has been allocated to the redevelopment, but the exact details of how the money will be spent has not yet been decided. If the committee's recommendation is accepted, the development will consist of an 8-lane Olympic pool, a wading pool and a learning pool. It is hoped to include a diving pool, but this will depend on how far the money stretches.
The Maitland Town Clerk, Mr McIndoe, stressed today that the details of the redevelopment were far from finalised and could be changed when the council debates the issue on May the 1st.